Okay, good afternoon, gentlemen. Hope everyone is well. 'Tis the 12th of October, Thursday. I've been looking at this morning. Now, as some of you know, I've had a few issues with blowing accounts lately. So my plan is, I sat down last night and put myself a bit of a plan together. It just seems pointless. Excuse me a second. Seems pointless for me at the moment trading multiple accounts, multiple peer accounts, when I'm still having this urge to trade after hours, and it's causing me problems controlling my emotions. So I think the sensible thing for me to do would be just to trade one peer account and one contract. Now, I've always tried to run before I can walk, and every single thing I've heard traders say, everyone risks too much, which causes too much stress. It's loads of accounts, blah, blah, blah. So it just makes sense that I need to change something now. I keep doing exactly the same thing day in, day out, and I'm struggling to change. So out of trading hours, I'm working on the psychological side. I've been looking at a couple of things this morning, well, the last couple of days. NLP, I don't know if anybody knows what NLP is. Neuro linguistic programming. It's just a way to, well, it takes a bit of getting your head around. They don't explain it very well, but with you on that. So, like, yeah, it just doesn't make sense, me trading two contracts, four accounts, because it's just too much to risk. So I'm slowing things down a bit. You know, one thing we get told as inexperienced traders is every trader trades too much. It's marathon, not a sprint. Everybody tries to run before they can walk. And we hear that thing day out, but most of us don't do nothing about it. The trouble is with me, I always try to rush things. Tony Robbins. In fact, I had a Tony Robbins video on this morning, actually, a really old one of him, actually, doing a sales pitch, how to sell anything. But yeah, NLP, from what I can gather, I'll just give you one thing. One guy explained it quickly. So let's say, for instance, let's say you want to be a successful trader. Okay, so let's bring it back to now. I don't know if you like me, but last night, about 8 o'clock last night, I had the urge I wanted to trade. I had that urge, and I thought in a split second, let's just jump on, get a quick evaluation, and just see if we can get lucky, build it up. And I had that thing, and I thought about it, and I thought, I have that urge. And that's what usually is the start of it. Now, when I'm streaming and I'm trading my normal 3 hours, I seem to trade well. I can build accounts, I can get points, I can take trades, I can spot traps, blah, 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 and I seem to do well. Now, I finish usually 5:30 UK time, so I go downstairs, have dinner with my family, and it's usually around the 7 o'clock time I get bored in the evening and I get that urge to come back to the chart. And in all fairness, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't end well. And that's always, I don't know why I don't do silly stuff in the morning, because I could go on the chart at 10 o'clock in the morning, midday, 1 o'clock, and do exactly the same thing, but I don't get that urge to do it in the morning. I'm quite happy and patient not getting to my chart till 2:15 in the afternoon, just before the stream starts. But it's that evening for some reason. Now, whether it's part greed, and I don't want to wait till tomorrow before I make more money, but for whatever reason, it's not ending well, and I'm losing account after account, and I've got to change something. So I'm looking into this NLP, and I think what it is, it's recognizing when you get that urge, and you almost run a little sort of mental video of hitting the button, getting the chart up, getting that excited, and it's replacing that with something more positive. So what do I want to look like as a trader? What would I like to be as a trader? Okay, so I can imagine myself. I've got to build a picture of myself. So let's say, for instance, market's open, so I'll keep it brief. We've had a break and a new low. Let's say, for instance, I want a nice car. I want a nice vehicle. So I'm sat near a beach, you know, nice pier, having a nice meal. I'd love a Rolex Submariner, one of those on my wrist. You know, nice 4x4 Land Rover or something parked there, nice trendy clothes, feeling really good, feeling really happy. And it's coming up with a mental image like that you can almost play as a real. And when you get this bad feeling or this bad urge, replace it quickly by there. Now, I won't rabbit on too much because obviously the market's just open, but I believe it's somewhere on the lines of that. But I'm going to spend a bit of time tonight and over the weekend looking into the psychological side. On the practical side, as you can see, if I open a trade here,
order submitted.
One contract. So I brought it
Order
down to
canceled.
one contract, something I've never done. One contract and one PA. And I'm just going to, I don't know, have a target of $500 a week or something like that, somewhere on the lines of that, but a little bit slower. It's the one thing I haven't tried, and it's the one thing people have told me most. So it makes sense, doesn't it? So you reduce the risk, you reduce the stress, common sense. So it's like people with an eating disorder in front of family during meals. They are fine, but you're absolutely right, mate. Yeah. How many people in the past creep downstairs late at night and raid the fridge or something like that? Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. But we all have those urges to do something. Whether it's the urge to eat crap. Let's face it, we all eat crap at the time, don't we? Whether it's the urge to gamble, which is very similar to what we're doing. You want that, maybe you want that sort of little buzz, I don't want to wait. But it's addressing that urge. So when I get that urge, I'm trying to be aware of it and think about it and think, what have I just experienced? Because I've got to start working on the psychological side, but because it is the side that everyone, we all know it's tough, but you can deal with it. You've just got to want to do something and try and do something about it. So I'm going to look at that tonight, spend a bit more time looking into that. And I'm also going to look, Artie sent me something, another way to help develop, to get out of bad habits. We do so much automatically. We get up in the morning at the same side of the bed. We have a certain order. We brush our teeth. We're not aware of these things. We do them automatically. So I jump on a chart, and sometimes if I'm on an evaluation late at night and I see the market go, I'll just sell. It's something I've done. I've picked up habits. So it's trying to address that automatic stuff and you know, sort of come real time. But I'll keep the rabbit into a minimum. But that's what I'm going to look at tonight and over the weekend. Spend a bit more time looking at that. So as you can see, I took a trade. We've had this leg down. We seem to have a couple of legs up. We made one attempt to go. I pushed through the EMA, came back up, dropped low. I like that for a failure or a lower high, whatever you want to call it. Technically a failure. But I went for 2 points there, which was $100. So 2 points was there. So plenty and more. I thought there was a fair chance we would either hit this bottom at least or come down for a measured move. My 2 points were at about here. I am risking less, and I've got to say, when I was in that trade, my stress levels were quite a bit lower than what they would normally be trading two contracts. So, and not only that, I think, in all fairness, I would probably make a bit more money trading one contract, because when you trade in two contracts, sometimes you get a bit nervy, don't you? And you come out of it a bit early. Whereas sometimes if you leave it, see, mine went down, and then it starts going a bit sideways here. Eventually it got out, but a lot of the times as it comes back for a pullback, you might jump out here. Whereas if you have a bit more patience, you'll get your points. So I think I'll probably end up making more money, or certainly not less, but with half the risk. Because if you look at all your trades, just look back on your trades, you'd be amazed at what percentage of them go for at least 5 or 6 points. So interesting. So let's have a look. But yeah, I'm just fed up of throwing away accounts because I'm just risking too much, and you know the story. Looks like a 2 tiers. Well, I've just put that there, but another thing I'm doing a bit too early as well is putting these channels. I think with price action, first and foremost, you've got to concentrate on the small ones, the smaller channels. But yeah, I don't really think it matters. I'm aware there's probably something bigger there, but I notice people like Marco and Daniel don't put these bigger channels in straight away. They're aware of them, So, you know, it's maybe a good idea to just pop it on there and say, okay, so there's possibly something there. I mean, you can eyeball this. You know, I can eyeball where it's going. So it looks like a leg and a leg to me, which is why I thought I was quite comfortable taking that. There's plenty of room to the lows. There's about 6 points to the lows. So I thought it would at least retest this. It started going down really nice, actually, and after that bar. But, you know, if I'd have held on there, I could potentially be looking at 7.5 points. You know, so it's one of those things, when do you hold on? But I always like to think once my account starts to get a bit healthy, then I'll maybe hold on a bit more. And yeah, you might lose the odd one, but if you're going to get 7 points, if you can identify what's going on, leg and a leg, or at least maybe not get you two, come out of the bottoms or something. So Matt once said, if you're the sort of person who can't lose weight and can't stop smoking, trade is not for you. Yeah, I mean, most of us have sort of lost a bit of weight. See, I put a couple of stone on during lockdown. What am I now? Around about 15, just under 15, which is not terrible for me. I'm quite tall. I'm 5'11". I'm quite broad anyway, but I always find if you want to do something bad enough, but I've not been overweight a lot, but times I have a little bit. I've had no problems shifting it. You know, I'm pretty driven like that. I've not really got an addictive nature. I've never been addicted to anything, smoking, drinking, drugs, nothing really. And I'd hate to think that something controls me. I went abroad. I went to Kenya about 17, 18 years ago. And for some reason, I got really nervous on the plane. I hadn't been on a plane for a few years for some reason. I don't know why, but I got really nervous. So a while after I got back, I had about 8 flying lessons because I hate it when something, you know what I mean? Something scares me. I have to go and do it. Otherwise, it just niggles me. So what's going on so far? So we had that open. I did wonder whether we were going to continue on there because this little section here sort of considered was more of a continuation from yesterday. But what's going on? So we got a leg up, sideways. No, that may be a leg up, sort of a couple of legs down, another leg up. So we may have something down. I don't know. Yeah, there is possible we could get down here somewhere. So that worked fine anyway. I was pretty confident we were going to come down here. But not confident to hold, strangely enough. If I would have held, I'd have done well on that. There you go. See, at some point, if you keep reducing that risk, there'll be a point where you won't get stressed at all. Now, whether that point is 1 contract or 2 micros, but there will be a point that if you keep reducing, that stress will just completely disappear. It'll almost be like an evaluation. If all I'm going to lose is $10 in a trade, it's not going to stress you out, is it? So rather than trade too much, bring it down to a level that you can manage the stress, and obviously risk management's got to come into it. But 1 contract, I think, didn't stress me at all in that. I actually got on a limit order as well, so it was about 2 points risk, so it's $100. You could afford to lose about 20, 23 or 24 of those with fees before you blow an account, so pretty hard to do that. You're not going to lose 20 odd trades in a row, and if you do, I'd say you need your eyesight checking because you're probably blind. But you know, my target, if I could have a $200 a day on 1 contract, I'd be over the moon with that. It's not a lot, really. 2 trades, 2 points, it's $200. And you'll probably take maybe a few more trades as well because the risk's less. Now, I know Mac sometimes marks slightly more aggressive trades that work, and a lot of the aggressive ones do. So I may be more inclined to take an aggressive trade on 1 contract that I might not on 2 contracts. So I'm halfway to my daily ideal as it is. You do 200 measly dollars a day, which is not a lot. That's $4,000 a month. So it's more than you'll ever need, timesing that by multiple accounts. So let's just put that there a minute. Leg down. So it could be just channel. I'm not a fan of doing that at the moment. It may even be something like a spike in a channel. That's the trouble if you go into... could be a spike in a channel. Trouble is, just consider that a break. That's the thing, really. You normally go from that top one. Mac does. Usually goes from the top one to the next swing high, which is there. Which leads me to believe at the moment, let's just focus on 1, 2. So I'm happy to extend that because it's continuing down. Okay, so let's just say channel. Now, I know it can come down here, but have you noticed lately, a lot of these measured moves aren't hitting their mark? In some cases, quite a bit off. So some days the measured moves play out beautifully again and again, and other days they miss it by quite a chunk. I'm not really sure why. Yes, you would at least have it on break down even if it's gone up so much. Subject break even. Yeah. Well, if I'm going to go with that to play this measured move out, I'm going to leave me stop there. Now, when it does this and pushes down and I can identify a bigger channel, then I would put my stop there because at least that will guarantee me a point. But in all fairness, something like this, if I thought there was going to be a second leg, I'd be inclined more just to get to the bottom. So if I went in there, I would be happy. Let's go for 6.5 points. Now, the chances of you hitting that bottom are pretty high anyway. Chances of you maybe sort of like, I don't know, maybe 90%. 9 times out of 10 it hit that. Maybe 8.5 times out of 10. So if you're going to get 6.5 points with a 2.5 point risk, and you're going to get it right at least 7 times out of 10, you've got to take it. It might even be worth just holding on. Now, whether I go to that, I don't know. What I may do is, the trouble is, as it hits that, it pulls back. So I don't know. Maybe you just put it at this bar and take 3 points. Depends if you want to come right down, but. Trouble is, if it hits there and it bounces, and it does continue up, I think that's the first main target, and that is secondary. So after this and a couple of legs up, and it's starting to come down, the trouble is, you see how close that gets before it comes back up and hits again. So it depends how you feel about letting these pullbacks. I don't mind the small pullbacks because if you start to move again, then that's a good sign. But, I'd probably be inclined to, what I tend to do is I like to get out where that body ends, not the stem. So if I would get out about there, in which case I'd have got taken out. I pay attention to that. A lot of the times it comes down and it doesn't break that bottom, but it'll usually do that. So depending on where I got in there, I got in on a limit order, you may take 5 points, but 5 points. That's nothing to be sniffed at. You do that twice a week, 10 points a week. I'll be over the moon with 10 points every week. Guaranteed. But now that's come back up and hit that, I'd say there's the chance of us hitting that now has just jumped up dramatically, I think, because maybe another quick pullback in that. But let's just see what happens. Now, I did look here. There wasn't really anything that interests me there. There's a little touch congested, but when it starts to go, fair enough. So if this pulls back up to here, would I take a short here? Maybe. Depends how good it looks. But What I will say is we've made a double bottom there, so there is a possibility we may push up, break these lows, and then push back up. I don't know. I like the thought of taking 2/3 of the measured leg, which probably takes us down to about here. If you can get in here, maybe, yeah, just take 2/3 of it. So then let's say there's your third, there's your second third. So come out around about there. And not push your luck. It depends. Some people are happy to just let it go. I do watch a bit of what's his name, Thomas Wade. I see him quite a lot. His runners going for 3, 4 or 5 points, and he doesn't move his stop, and they come back and get him. I'd feel annoyed myself if I let the price go 5 points ahead and then come back and take me out for break even. It doesn't make sense, that. You've at least got to secure yourself something if it goes 5 points, even if it's a point or two. Okay, so this could be a bottoming pattern. So interesting. Let's see what happens here. But at least I'm up at trade anyway, so I'm up $100 minus fees. So one more trade like that, that's a good start. Okay, I think there's a good chance we'll hit that target now. What you recommend? Perfect number of contracts. Count 2,000. In all fairness, mate, I used to say 2 contract, but now I say 1 without a doubt. I've always done 2 contracts and I've struggled. 1, the stress is high. 2, you've got a lot less room to maneuver. Now, you look at professional traders, some of them risk 0.5% and even 0.25%. When I started trading, I tend to hear 1 to 3%. So when I started to learn trading currency, I went straight down the middle, 2%. Whereas if you trade 2 contracts, you're risking 10%, possibly a bit more. And that's without any fees. And in a lot of cases, you can get larger bars, and that can go up to 12 or 13%. And in realistically, it's too much. If you went to any professional firm and you said, I'm learning to trade, I'm risking 10%, they look at you like you've got 2 heads. So I've had a few people say 5% with futures. And with this type of style, you go for high probability trades. So you're not expected to lose many trades in a row. So I would agree with 1 contract. That's what I'm trading at the moment, which is around about 5% risk, which I think is suitable on this. And when you get up to $5,000, you could increase that to 2 then, seeing you've got the same risk. So it does look like we may hit that mark. So if you did take that trade and thought, I'm just going to leave it, then you'd have done pretty well out of that. So there you go. It's gone down 14 points basically. So if you got 10 points out of that, so you do that, 10 points, 1 trade, your week's done. Yeah, I think. See, if you start on one, when you get to $5,000, you build up to $5,000. Effectively, you've got twice as much. Then we start in with around about $2,500 of drawdown. You get your account up to $5,000. You've effectively double that then, so you can realistically go up to 2 contracts. And if you can build up to $5,000 on one contract, I think you're doing pretty well. Would you agree? You're doing all right. That's a really good start. And I genuinely think I've always rushed things. I've always tried to cut corners, but, stubborn old me, it's taken a lot of time to learn, and now I'm starting to realise, okay, perhaps everyone's right. And surprisingly enough, when you reduce from 2 to 1 contract, your stress levels drop. It's common sense. You're risking half the amount, because whatever risk you do in life, there is an element of nerves there. If you're risking £1,000 on a horse at the weekend, your throat's going to be in the back of your mouth, isn't it? Probably doesn't make much sense, that, but you know what I'm saying. Whereas if you risk $10, it's obviously a different story, isn't it? It's a lot less stressful. So, see what I mean about that? A lot of times it isn't making it. Sometimes it hits it beautifully, but having said that, there is a first break of it. So I think it's things are looking bearish at the moment. So I think it's quite likely it's going to hit that. But usually when we get that close, it's a point away, point and a quarter away. It just usually rams. Now I'm using one contract with 6 ticks, and you're up $200. $200 in 2 weeks. Okay. So I think it's also important to think, how long is something going to take? That's $400 per month. That's $4,800 in a year. Yeah, see, one cut, you're going for 6 ticks. What's that, about $75? So you've taken 3 trades in 2 weeks. Yeah, okay. So have you not been trading long? Because that's not a lot of trades, 3 in 2 weeks. That's sort of like 1 every 4 days, isn't it? I'd say you can be looking at 1 trade a day at least. It's rare I don't take a trade. I think there's always 1 good setup a day. You should try Matt's contract. I've traded evaluations that way. I think there's an 85% chance if you go long and short at the same time, you're going to pass an evaluation. But that's another story. Some people go silly with $15 evaluations, and that's what happens when they sell the evaluations at $15. But when you're talking PA accounts, really, this is what it's all about. This is where you start to build money. But I'm really working hard with my psychology, which is important, because it's, I believe now I've got enough skills to be able to spot trades and make money and build an account. It's when things go a little bit wrong, how you deal with it then. And so far I've had issues where I have revenge trade and blown accounts, and plenty of them. So it's reducing the risk, hopefully, so that doesn't happen. And then not coming back. I put a little post out over the weekend at one of the Facebook groups about, does anybody else get the urge to come back? It's quite common, actually. So it's just coming up with a strategy to deal with that urge, which is why I'm looking into an LP at the moment. Okay, so we've had a break. Leg down. I think it's very likely we're going to hit this. 1 leg, 2 legs. That should take us there. No, yeah, perfect. Look at that. Perfect. So if you'd have put your take profit there right on the button and left it there, you would have missed it by 1 tick. It will do. No, it's got you. Yeah. So if you'd have had nerves of steel to do that, I'd have had to shake your hand, because you'd have put it there, 15.5 points. I mean, look at that, 15.5 points. So if you know what's going on with this market and you've got the confidence to let it ride, you can do really well. This is my first time, so I'm going around 2 on contracts. Why am I? But yeah, that's it. It is slow and steady. See, there's me saying, yeah, but it might take you a year to make $4,800. Whereas most of us in a year have blown about 4 times that and still haven't got a successful account. So I'm not going to tell you you're doing it slow, you're doing the wrong thing. I'm telling you, if you're managing to hold an account, even 2 weeks, and to me, you're growing very slowly. Now, if you've got the patience to do that, at that rate, I'd say you're going to do well. Some people will go, I trade a bit more, blah, blah, blah. You don't let anybody else tell you what to do. The important bit is you've held it for how long did you say, 3 weeks? And you're up $200. Most people have blown it within 3 weeks. And most people are doing 2 contracts and above. So you stick to what you're doing there, mate. And don't let anybody tell you. In fact, is it really possible to trade too little? It is, but I mean, what's too little? Yeah, no. The important bit is, if you're new to it, try not to get into bad habits earlier on. Keep things sensible. Do things the right way. See a trade, take it, commit, leave it alone. Set yourself a time limit. When you're sort of new, yeah, if you want to do 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day, that's fine. But set yourself a loss limit. So if you lose 2 trades in any one trading day, walk away. Now that serves two purposes. One, you're never going to lose that much that you're going to blow your account. And 2, it gets you into good habits, because after a couple of losses, you really should be walking away, because something isn't right either. You're not in the right frame of mind for it. Something's going on, maybe outside with with your headspace. The markets might be choppy or volatile. So get into good habits earlier on. Listening to people like me who've done it the hard way and thrown money away is useful, I think. Try and do everything everybody else doesn't. Take your time. Try and treat it like a business. Take a trade when it's a good one, or you believe it to be a good one. It doesn't matter if it fails or the trade loses. That doesn't matter. That's how you learn. You've got to lose to learn. It helps to mould you then. So, yeah, start off slow, absolutely. But try and get out of building up bad habits earlier on, because it's amazing how hard those habits are to kick later on down the line. So start slow and steady. It isn't a marathon. It isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. It does take time, but I do it the right way, and you'll do okay. Okay, so we've had that break. We've had a couple of legs down to a new low. So what are we doing now? That's played out technically. We're actually there is quite a bit of congestion there going back, so we may do a bit of sideways. And obviously it's possible, as that's played out, that we could now work up. Measured moves played out beautifully. Well, in all fairness, I did a wider channel, but if you take that up there, yeah, it can go there. But at the moment, it's staying in that one tier. Now, it might just be that one tier, but whether it's a bigger tier or a smaller tier, it's played out now. So, I just have to let it go. Now, even if you want to adjust that like that, see if it fits. Trouble is, you can keep adjusting it and adjusting it and adjusting it, and there's one true way until maybe it continues up, but I think sometimes you adjust it too much. It moves, you adjust, it moves, you adjust, and I think what it's doing is sucking you into a bad habit, really. So let's put that maybe as a spike and channel, but I'm going to still consider this a break and a new low. So trouble is, if you start getting these bigger channels too quick, you can get into trouble. But it's by the by, really, anyway. It doesn't matter whether it's a 2-tier one or a single tier. We've had a break and a new low, so let's see what gives now. let's see if we go sideways or start to push up. What was the PC software that checked PC health called? It was called User Bench. User Benchmark. User Benchmark. USER as in User Benchmark. And what it does, it gives you an overall picture of how good your computer is, how powerful it is. Because you need a certain amount of power, processing power when you're trading, especially if you're trading multiple accounts. The quicker that PC works and executes those trades, the more chance you've got of executing them all at the same time to put in it. So it does look like it may be getting a little bit sideways there. I just noticed when that came back, it was holding around the same place as there, and we got 3-4 areas there where we're touching the same place. Did that and now regret it because I'm about to spend a couple of grand to buy a new one. Do you know what, Kev? I'll give you a little tip here, mate. Build your own. I'd never done it before, never. But there's that much stuff on YouTube, and most of it's plug and play, and I built my own. That way I went for good quality parts and saved money as well. And I'll tell you something, I plugged it all in. It took me a couple of hours and a bottle of wine, and it all worked. I was absolutely astonished. I'm not the best DIYer in the world, but I was absolutely amazed it all worked. YouTube it, there's loads of stuff. You need, first and foremost, you've got to get a little memory stick and put a copy of Windows so it can boot off it. It's great fun. Mine has to be a laptop. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, buy one. The gaming ones seem to be on the right sort of, but yeah, if you're going to trade and you're going to do it seriously, that you don't want hiccups and headaches. But I don't know what they're like in the States. I would say a £1,500, no, let me say £1,200, which is probably about $1,500 computer for me, would be suitable. I have had a look for laptops just in case, you know, to have a backup or if I go abroad or for whatever reason. But it does seem to me the gaming PCs, they have quite a fast chip. You don't need a fantastic graphics card, but you do need a half decent one. Once you start opening more than one of these, I started trading first on a Mac, an older 10-year-old MacBook Pro or 8-year-old MacBook Pro, and I had Windows installed in it. I bought 2 monitors, and when I started opening more than one of these charts, it was lagging terribly. And when I built this one, I just put a very basic card in, and I had the same problem, terrible lag. And I did a bit of research, and I spent a few £100 on a GeForce GTX 2060 or something. And it's been brilliant, no issues. I mean, you don't need a mega expensive one for gaming, but you know, I have 220 Dell XP, 2 TB SSD. I'd say an i9 there, but it's not far off top of the line there, is it really? SSD 500 minimum. It's pretty cheap nowadays. A gigabyte is ample. An Intel i9's great. No issues. Some say 64 is ample. I'd go for 32. DDR4 I got. You can get it's DDR5 now, isn't it? But DDR4 is ample. 32 is plenty. What I don't want to do is just have any. I don't want to put limitations on mine. But I think your processor is important, isn't it? Probably one of the most important thing. Mid-range, maybe below mid-range gaming graphics card is ample. And it's purely really, if you open 2 or 3 of these charts, you might have one above your head, and I don't know, you might have one to your left, or you might have something else open, or you might be watching YouTube. Yeah, go for something like a 2060. I mean, in the UK, you can pick them up for about 180. You're probably $200 or even less than that, I think. Hey, Rodian, how you doing? How's Australia getting on with India at the moment? It's the Cricket World Cup at the moment. Let's have a look. It's Australia. I'm pretty sure it's Australia, India, isn't it? Let's have a look. Sorry, Australia, South Africa, sorry. Okay, so Australia batting. You need 247 runs. You've lost 4 wickets. That's a tough call. Ouch. Are you Melbourne, are you? Stayed up late today. It's one. Oh yeah, of course it is. Yeah, I keep forgetting you're quite a bit ahead. Yeah. Australia, well, they've lost 4 wickets for 65 runs. Quite a lot of wickets today. They might struggle. They've got to get 250 runs basically with 6 wickets left. That's a tough call, that is. It's a shame, really. I always like to see Australia do well. I'm only kidding. After you thrash this in the Ashes, probably most of you US guys, I think I'm talking a different language here, but the Ashes is just a cricket. I suppose most of you know cricket now. The Ashes is just it's a cricket match that happens every 2 years between Australia and England. It's been going on for about 180 years or something, 160 years, something like that. It's in the UK, then 2 years later it's in Australia, 2 years later it's in the UK. I was just thinking that has to be a joke. It was a joke. No, actually, I have a lot of mates who are cricket fans. Yeah, it's big business in Australia, isn't it? I think I'd probably say about 4 of our cricket clubs over here could fit into one of yours. I mean, what is it? Well, you're in Melbourne, so you got the was it MCG? What's that, about 60, 70,000? That's more than double our biggest ground. Yeah, in fact, wasn't that where Phil Hughes was killed, wasn't it? He got hit in the back of the head, didn't he? Just below the ear, the centre of the, what's it with the cricket ball? And sadly died. I'm sure that was Melbourne, wasn't it? Was it Charity Shield game, I think? Very sad. First person I've ever known to die playing cricket. I know a few people have had nasty injuries, but that was terribly sad, that was. Right. Yeah, not far from... Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's big. Is it your national sport or not? I suppose it is, isn't it? It's pretty up there with Australian rules, isn't it? That's another brutal game, isn't it? Brutal game, that. Okay, so depending on how you look at this, we've had a break, a couple of pushes down to a new leg, we've had a leg and a leg. So are we going to come back to the main, continue on higher? It's hard to say. I don't think I can adjust that any differently that incorporates that. That's the trouble, really. It's hard to know exactly where to pick from here because you're going to adjust that to more or less get everything to fit. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Australian rules. In fact, that was where the great Shane Warne started, really. He was a big footballer, a big Australian rules player, and then obviously accidentally fell into cricket, had a natural ability for it. In fact, he played for Hampshire, was my local cricket club at the time. Go back some years, but terrible, sad loss again. Heart attack at 54. It should not happen, should it? It should not happen. Very sad that was. He had a special bond with cricket, and even the British fans as well. The English fans loved him because he was just a normal lad, wasn't he? Yes, because he was dating Liz earlier. Absolutely right. But he was just like your normal lad, wasn't he? There was nothing flash about him. What you see was what you get. But he had a kind of a nice... he was just a nice guy, wasn't he? He just made the sport of cricket a lot more exciting. But very sad when he died, really. Big shock. Even the Ashes issue wasn't the same. He's usually there as a presenter, isn't he? But just not the same. Really sad. But yeah, famously dated Liz Hurley. Lucky lad. Lucky boy. Right, are we pushing up now? I think we possibly are. He was a great bowler, yeah, natural. Very natural. I don't think there's been a spin bowler that's had quite as much impact on cricket as him, really. Real shame. Real shame. I did meet him once about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, at Edgbaston. He just walked past me in the corridor, and I went up and took a selfie with him, and he was all right, actually. But you'd always see him around. Okay, so we've got a leg and egg. So what are we doing now? Are we going to continue on down, or are we actually moving up? I was hoping we'd get back to the MA and maybe pick a lower high up, but I'm just wondering, is it going to find... There does seem to be some resistance around about there. You can see it, so... And that is not far from a measured leg, so... Okay, so that's held through there. So, maybe... Surely we're going to have a pullback in a minute. Okay, I'll tell you what. I don't usually incorporate this, but I might start just out of curiosity. So our 50% is there, isn't it? How do you get rid of it? So we've had a break of that. I think that's fair. Even if it's a 2-cheer single tee, it doesn't matter. We're clearly working there. Touch, 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 touch. We've had a break. 2 legs down, new low. So we've pushed out quite nicely. So let's just put that there like that. And then maybe... Okay, that kind of fits all right. Let's get rid of that because it's killing me. Okay, touch. A couple of times, touch there. I like the way it's hit there. Top of the range and come down. If we can get a couple of legs here, might be interesting going long there. I think there's 2 legs, so I've got to be a little bit cautious. 1, 2, not quite. So if we can get something down here, then I may be interested in going long. That's all that. Where could it go? It could go to here. We seem to be above there now, so there is a bit of resistance around here. There's no reason it would come back. That's played out. See if we can find a higher low here. Could call that a failure, actually. It is a failure there. I don't mind that one.
Order submitted.
There's going to be some stops there, surely, isn't there? 1, 2, 3. It's pulled off there nice, so I think that's okay. Let's see how it finishes. No. Scrub that.
Order cancelled.
I thought if it finished bullish on here, it confirms that line, then I may go. I'd like to see it take out that stop. If it only goes 38%, this is a strong downtrend. Is that okay? That sounds all right. Let me look at that again. So let's go with there. So what did it say? 38%. Tell you what. Let's just make this a bit easier. Let's do it from the other top. Let's do it from there. That's a bit better, isn't it? Okay, right from the top to the bottom. So there's the 38%, there's the 50%. Okay. Can I move that back? I should be able to. It's about there anyway, isn't it? We should be able to figure that out. Okay, so there's a higher low there. In fact, it's a second entry long. Something about that I'm not sure about. Good choice. I very nearly bought there, but I just don't like it. It's a little bit congested for me, so sensible decision not to get in there because it would have stopped me straight out. So good decision. Sometimes something just doesn't look right. I didn't like that. It is a second entry long, but you know what? I think there is a possibility we may have had a little overshoot there. Sometimes these overshoots are really small, and I'll tell you why, because I took one once and it lost. And I messaged Mark and he went, "You've had an overshoot." He went, "I know it's tiny, but just always be aware, no matter how small, sometimes these overshoots can, it's the way it is." But there is a possible second entry long there, so perfect 38 it is, isn't it? Now I don't know how accurate this thing is because I don't use it much. I used to occasionally when I started trading currency, but it doesn't do you any harm. Put it this way, if it turns down at that, surely that's a good indicator that perhaps we are having some more downs. So if it does turn down at that and you decide to go long there and you lose it, perhaps next time you might just decide to pay attention to that. So who was it said that? So Jay, where'd you come up with that from, Jay? If it only goes up 38%, means this is a strong downtrend and that's going to keep on going down. Where did you hear that from, mate? Not that I don't disbelieve you, I just find it interesting. Because there's nothing wrong with having... How long does it take to put that up there? 38% pulls back as strong. Because sometimes when we have this and we do have a break, it's always useful to think about, okay, if it goes to there, perhaps we're going to continue up. If it goes to there, it may come down. So it may keep you out of a trade. In all fairness, I kind of love that trade. But I'm going to leave it. Does look like a leg and a leg, doesn't it? Trouble is, we've had what looks like a small overshoot there, and as that's happened, it's popped out the side. So, and it's only 38%. So, what's the chance of it going up or coming down? I'd say there's probably more chance of it going down. One, we've had a small overshoot. Two, we've hit 38% exactly. And then we've had a break. So that could be a trap. It may go up, but I'm willing to risk not getting into it. Because that really could be an overshoot and it could come down and stop me out. So that'd be a 3.25 point. Just doesn't make sense with that. Now, if we get a higher low over here, that might be a different story. I don't like the way it's going slow. So straight away, I don't like that trade, the fact that it's going slow. Now, there is a possibility that we could have a bit of a range. That would make sense to me. In which case, I definitely don't want to be in it. It's kind of a nice looking bar, though. And it does look like leg and a nice big bullish bar, but that could be... I've seen these before, and Max mentioned them. You've got a little overshoot there. It's funny because sometimes he says, I don't think this is a break. I don't think it's enough. And on the other hand, he'll say something like that looks like an overshoot. But if you get something small like that, followed by a break, perhaps that's telling you something. Now, it might work, but it's not about getting it right every time. It's about, if something's not right, taking caution and missing a trade. Because if you get this little overshoot and a break, and it only come up to this level, then that increases the risk that long may go against you. So what can I do to guarantee I don't lose any money? Not take the trade. And as I mentioned a few times, doesn't bother me in the slightest missing a trade, because the sensible thing to do is, if you're not sure about something, is stay out of it. That way you're never going to mess up. It does look like it's going to work, but small overshoot, no matter how small, we've had a break immediately after it, that's got to tell you something. It just means be caution. So you may take that high or low. That will probably be the slightly safer bet. But what I will say is it's starting to get a bit congested now right on that midline. So I'm going to stay out of that. It's not pushing up as comfortably as I would like. Having said that, I think it's more likely to work, but I ain't getting involved. Look at that bar now. Now, if that was a trade that was going to push up comfortably, surely that high or low would... let's have a look. Short time. In all fairness, I'm just staying out at the moment because I'm getting mixed signals here. It does look like it's pushing up. See, we could have a leg up, 2 legs of correction, and another leg up. It's possible. Excuse me, but I think you've got to be a little cautious, because it looks like there is a small overshoot followed by a break. So that means sometimes it'll do that. It'll push up and then continue down, but that looks like it's working okay. The peak of that swing second entry short. You know about a second entry short there? You're a way more advanced trader than I am, mate, to take a trade like that. In all fairness, the way this is looking, I think it's likely to continue up. It looks like a leg, 2 legs of correction and a leg up. That would obviously be a different strategy to me, because it's only the second touch of that, really. I'm not saying you're wrong or it's not going to work, but it's just something I can't take personally. Signal bar's not very good anyway, in all fairness. Oh, shoot, I'll tell you what I haven't done. Reloaded my historic. Possible failure there. I'd say 1 leg, 2 legs. There's probably likely going to be some stops there. You could take that as a long trade. There's a failure there. Stops there. See, now I've reset that one. If that bar triggers, it may hit that stop. No, not quite. So, possible failed second entry short. That's triggered. Now we're going to push up. We're going to rock it up. Yeah, it is. So there is a possibility that there could be, we've got a leg up there, 2 legs of correction, If we get above here, I'd say we're moving up for another leg. If we can get and close above here, because that would fit going from there, touch. But I'm a bit on the fence at the moment. After this big downtrend, we could push up and up another couple of times and then continue down. So, oh, sorry about that. I accidentally shut the window. I'm glad I could come back there. What's going on? What is going on? Okay, so we've gone up again. Now this could mean that we are coming down. We had a break. We made 2 attempts to go higher. Failure. Okay, we're going up for me. So let's put that there. Let's change the colour. I had my suspicions. Let's get rid of that. Okay, touch. So leg and leg. So far the day's working out quite nice. So there's a leg there and a leg there. So that would take us to. There is a little bit of, yeah, I'd say that's a fair place to go to. Trouble is, for me, that's risky because you are going into these highs. You weren't to know there, but the way that pushed up, I did say there's probably likely going to be some stops there. Leg, and maybe down some more. Some people do that. Who's the guy that used to stream? Merce. He used to do that, chase traps, and he put his order there. But taking it off there, you can't take that really, in my opinion. It's just too risky. Excuse me, just a sec. Wow, and it's just turned. We got no news, have we? No. Sorry about that. Wow, pushed straight up, came straight back down. Interesting. Now I'm guessing perhaps it is going to come down after that quick push. I don't know what turned that round. Is this a Spotkin channel? No, let's get rid of it. Okay, so I had a break of this, 2 pushes up to a new high. Strange, that is. I never expected that. Turned around at the there we go. Let's have a look. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. What's that? About a few ticks off that 50. Three ticks off that 50. Yeah, so what I think that says is if you are going to go long there, just be careful. If you'd have took that long anyway, you'd have got, well, 3 points, more than 3 points anyway, so you'd have been all right. So interested, are we going to continue up? One would think no. Maybe we're going to pull back, a little bit of this, and maybe some downward stuff. So let me just see if there's any way we could make this slightly wider. It's possible. It is possible. It's a spike and channel. Let's say go from there. Let's go from that bar there, touch there, touch there. It actually, visually, that fits exceptionally well, doesn't it, if you look at that there? So perhaps this is a couple of legs up, a break, 2 pushes to a new high, and now we're working down. So I think that's quite possible. I'd like to see what Mac's take is on that, but I've got a feeling we won't get anything just yet. So let's have a wee looky. Where are you, Mac? No, not yet. No, hopefully soon. So, leg down, a little bit of sideways, push up, fail breakout, come back down, that's possible. The way that's pushed really quickly. We are still in there, aren't we? But ABC. Yeah, I've looked at that before, trading cryptocurrency, but I don't fully understand ABCD. So where's that A, B, C, D? Yeah, I don't quite know how that works. B, C, D, and about A, B. A, B, C, I don't know. Am I? I can't even remember what I said myself now. There's a failure there. It's just a bit too far away from the EMA. I'd have much preferred it if it had pushed a bit higher there. I might call that a little bit of a breakout of that little bit of a range there. But I'm not a fan of that. It's a bit too low for my opinion. It may work, but not me. I like it if it pushes up quickly, nice stem, drops back nicely, hugs the underside of that. For me, we're going down for another leg. It looks like we are, in all fairness, anyway. There may have been some stops there. Push up, second entry long. Actually, the more I look at that now, I kind of like it. I wish I'd have taken it because we had a leg up. It was 2 lovely legs back. I'll tell you for sure, Marco will take that trade and maybe a couple of others. I wish I'd have done, actually. What was the risk? So it was around about 3.25 points. So leg, 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 leg. 2 pullbacks and nothing but A, B, C, D. So would you say A, B, C, D, that type of thing, yeah? See, they're not something we use specifically, but other traders do. So what would you sort of, that would be your A, that would be your B, that would be your C, and that would be your D. And then obviously whatever direction, is that what you mean? So A, B, C, D, and then up. Right on, yeah. And it is really just, isn't it? 2 legs back, really, isn't it? Yeah. Trouble is, there's so many different ways to trade, isn't there? And I think really, if you think your way is the only way, I think you're trading with one arm tied behind your back and one eye shut, really, aren't you? You have to be aware that just because you see something a certain way, there are, other traders that move these markets that may see things differently. There's always the reversal area. Yeah. See, I'm too inexperienced really to see, to know how the whole system works. I've been trading coming up 3 years, but trading this price action stuff nearly 2.5 years. But how the general market moves, and the whole structure of it, from the big guys that trade with the big pockets, the institutional traders, and so on. I don't know the structure comfortably well enough. ABCDs within ABCDs, yeah. So you're talking legs then, really, are you? So there are legs within legs. So there was a leg there and a leg there. Also maybe a leg there and a leg there and a leg there and a leg. Yeah, I know what you're saying. There was one leg there, another leg there, and that was into twos. Leg, leg, 2 legs back, leg, leg. Just like Max says, yeah. I wish I'd have taken that, actually, because now I look at that like that. I don't know why I didn't add that as an overshoot, but it just looks like that's actually a really nice trade, to be fair. Not knowing how I got this right, and then when it went sideways started taking me out, but in all fairness, it was actually a nice trade. So if you'd have taken the tick above there, you'd have got your 2 points before the highs. If you'd have sat up there, it did go for a nice little wander up top. Nice short here. Yeah, leg. It's a big ass bar though, isn't it? 16 ticks. My only slight concern is it could be a fail breakout again. So I don't want to go short there. It's a big ass bar for me. So if you put a stop above it 1 tick and you go below, it's 4.5 points. Just too rich for my blood, that is. So that could trigger and come down and trap the longs there. There may be longs going off this bottom. There may be some longs there. No, they'll be taken out, but there may be longs there. But if this comes down below here, then I can see us having the leg down. But sorry. So let's put that there, and then that maybe there. So that'll take us close to the lows of the day. I wouldn't be surprised if we drop further, but trouble is, it is a little bit congested along there, so I could probably move that to there now, because it's hitting 5 points all around here, so which is probably more than it was there. Trigger now. Could this be a major trend reversal? Yeah, it could be either, really, couldn't it? We've had a break. Whether you call this, we've had a break, 2 legs back, another leg up. It could be leg and leg. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, we had a break initially, and I adjusted that, but now I've adjusted it. In all fairness, I actually prefer that. That for me, that visually fits nice. It sits lovely at the bottom, and it's as much as whether it fits as how it looks. You should stream much more. Isn't 5 days enough for you? I stream Monday to Friday every week. I don't know what else I can do, mate. If yeah, I trade 5 days a week. But yeah, I'm a bit on the fence here, but that visually looks right for me. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy with that. Whether you call it a 2-tier or you bin this top bit and you start from here. But what I will say is however you do it, I mean, even if you do it like this, you can see it's working lovely. So I'm happy with that. Now we've had a break, and it is a leg up, 2 legs of correction, and it's a leg up. So all it really is 2 legs up, and now we've come down. So I would say, based on the bigger picture, not what's going on here, that I think we are likely to come down with another leg, and more than likely take out that the lows of the day, I would say. Because usually when we have a channel, we have a break out of it. Usually we'll retest the lows. In most cases, we'll break the lows. But it's a little bit congested here. But we have had a leg and a leg. And within those 2 legs, we've had 2 smaller ones. You can see them there. 2 legs of correction, 2 smaller ones. And we've had 1 leg down. And that looks like 1, 2, 3 attempts to go higher. So for me, I'd say we're going to come further down. Now, if we do come down here, I think then it's likely we're going to make this measured move, and in most cases we'll push through it and take out the low of the day. But at the moment, especially with my strategy won't allow me to get in there because it is choppy, and you could get in and get stuffed before it eventually goes where you think it's going to go. Clear up 4,400, yeah, it does. These round numbers surprisingly make a difference as well, don't they? Once we can get out the bottom and close lower than these, for me, then we're good for a second leg. But what I'd like to see is it push down there, come back and retest this before it then drops past here. I think we'll hit the low of the day without a doubt. See if I duplicate that and change it to a 10,000 tick chart or 5,000 tick chart, let's say. Let's go 4,000. That should be a clearer picture. Let's do 10,000. Yeah, this is the 10,000 tick chart I'm going to bring up here. So we've got this channel down here. We've had a break in the case with the result 2 legs up and come down sharply. So I think we're going to have a leg and another leg. But this is a sort of more simplified version. Trust and swing trades more than scalps. Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. I gave up scalping for a point a year and a half ago. I go for 2 minimum now. If it's in a small area, I don't think it's going to go a lot of distance. I'll go for 2. But if I'd have held on to that one, I'd have got out even around these lows somewhere. There's 16 plus points there available. Loads. But if I can get 1 16-point trade per week, I'd make a fortune. If you're trading 2 contracts and you get that, it's 816, that's $1,700. You get one of those a week, one of them a week, there's $6,400 a month. You times that by 10 or 20 accounts. You're going to have a nice motor. So yeah, looks like a leg down there. We've had a break, 2 legs of correction, and another leg. And now down side was a little bit of uncertainty. It is possible it could go up, but I think it's more likely going to go down. But I tend to not get involved in this bit because it's clearly trapped. If you get a nice bar there, which triggers above there, closes down the bottom there, for me it's going down. But really what's going to bring sellers into the market is to have a solid signal bar showing we're going to go down. And at the moment, there's nothing really that looks attractive. I hate these big solid signal bars. I'd much prefer that to push up, or the buyers to push that up and drop and have a stem with a little head. But no. Okay, so there's the next slightly bearish bar. Trouble is, it's stuck in the middle of that. It's not telling me anything. Later. Are you done, are you? Excellent. It's time to master my fucking image. Okay, so what's going on here? Nothing you can really do with that. You just got to let it go. I've given up trying to work out what's going on there. You'll never get it. Trouble is, what you got to keep in mind, never feeling inadequate because you don't know what's going in there. No one knows. That's why it's going sideways. You've got guys with massive pockets who trade in this, are way more experienced and more money than we've got, and they're not trading that. So what does that tell you? Okay, while it's doing this, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. My wife's just come home from work. I'm going to make a quick cup of tea. It's going sideways. I'm not interested in trading anyway, so I might as well take advantage of it. Hello, how are you, stranger? Choppy day. Yeah, good start. And it was moving, so there was, there was areas where you may have, but there's nothing you can do with this. You've just caught me. I'm about to go and make myself a cup of tea. In 5. I'll tell you about my new bottle of 10-year-old Ardbeg when I get back. Excuse me, I'll be 5 minutes. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Okay, what's going on here? Leg down. Okay, so we did make that measured leg all bar a ticker, so we didn't make a new low. Strangely enough. There's some scotch in your tea. I bought it. I've not tried it in tea. I've had it in coffee before. Yeah, look. Do you know what? There is a higher low there, which I kind of like. But I don't know what's going on there. So I'll have to keep that. Now I bought a bottle of a 10-year-old bottle of Ardbeg. It was quite pricey. It's about £50 in the UK. I tend to stick around about the £30 to £35. But it's an Islay whiskey, so it's quite heavily peated, and it's cask strength as well. So it's 46.3. It's quite strong, actually. It's probably the strongest. I've had cask strength whiskies before, but this is probably the strongest. So I think with the inclusion of the peat in it, the natural peatiness in it, and the cask strength's quite strong. So I used to put about a half a teaspoon of water in it. Very nice, very fresh. Nothing nicer than a double scotch at the end of a trading day. Just finishes the day real nice. So, leg up, leg down, leg down. It did come down, fraction off that measured move. In fact, that measured move was probably a little bit less anyway, so we're a tick away, I think. I don't enjoy that smoky taste. Well, to be honest with you, first time I ever tried it, I thought it was the most disgusting thing I'd ever drunk. I came from a bottle of Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve, and did I was just looking around the supermarkets and the Lafroig. I didn't know anything about peated whiskies at the time, and the 10-year-old bottle of Lafroig was on offer, about £15 off it. So I bought it, took it home, sat in front of the TV at night, brought it in the living room, cracked it open, poured it out. I went to put it in my mouth, and it absolutely stunk. It smelt of burnt, really. It just smelt charred, burnt, and I thought that is disgusting. I just spent about £30 on this bottle. My wife thought it was disgusting. I just thought I can't drink it, so I poured it back in the bottle, put it away. And a week or so later, I was in our local town, and there's a whiskey shop there which sell, all sorts of whiskies from all over the world, like all sorts of different spirits from all over the world. And he said, every couple of days, open the bottle, have a sniff of it. Open the bottle, have a sniff of it. And it gets you used to it because it's such an unusual smell. You don't associate it with whiskey. It just doesn't work. Now, the peated whiskies are my most favourite whiskey. So if you are into whiskies or you're new to whiskies, if you do happen to by accident buy a peated one, just keep going back and having a sniff of it now. But the smell, I find the smell of it absolutely addictive. When I have a drink of it, obviously there's a tiny little drop left, and if I leave it overnight, I come back in the morning and the alcohol's evaporated. You just get that barley smell. It's just beautiful. It's lovely. Japanese one that's peated. Yeah, I was looking at a Japanese one. It's quite a rectangular tall bottle, very light and coloured. There was one on the shelf a couple of nights ago. I forget what it's called, but I know the Japanese do whiskies. There is a possible second entry along this. It looks like we've pulled up, made a couple of attempts to go lower, and then maybe going up. Having said that, I've talked myself into these trades before, and when they fail, the simple answer is it's going sideways. So mine is 500 ml, small and round. Yeah, I don't know what they... Yeah, so I suggest Hibiki. Japanese one, really nice. Interesting. I've obviously tried Irish ones before, things like and bourbons and stuff like that. In fact, I not long ago finished a Woodford Reserve, I think it was. Woodford Reserve. What's the other one? What's the one with the red dipped plastic top on it? What's that called? I can't remember now. That's a bourbon. I actually don't mind bourbon. But I really like my peated whiskies. Obviously, you can't get, well, not that I'm aware of, peated bourbon. But I do. I'd say 3 out of every 4 bottles of whiskey I usually buy now are peated ones. Just finished a Bunnahabhain. I'd forgotten I had any left, and I just finished it. My wife had one with me last night. The Strudadair one. I want one for Christmas. The one I want for Christmas is the Lagavulin, the 16-year-old, but it's about £120 in the UK. So that's a bit more than I spend on a bottle. Yeah, the Lagavulin 16-year-old one. It's another peated one. But another one of my favourites that I really like is the Aberlour. It's like a short, fat, round bottle. Absolutely love the Aberlour. A Speyside Scotch, that is. You'll pay around that to 130. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Do you know the most expensive bottle of Scotch ever sold went for £6 million? Unbelievable. £6 million. A lot of money for a bottle of whiskey. £6 million. Unbelievable. Just think of how many evaluations you can buy with that. God, I'd price everything now in evaluations. What are we doing here? Okay, so we pushed up. We had a leg and a leg up, leg and a leg. Now we're pushed up, a little bit of sideways. So I don't know whether we're going to put down here. It's a tough one. We came out and rejected really quickly. I'm a bit on the fence as to what's going on at the moment. I'd like to think we're going to have another leg, but there is quite a bit of resistance along there. So there is a good Ken Loach film called The Angel Share. Ken Loach, Angel Share. That's interesting. That's that little bit that sort of evaporates out, isn't it? We lose about 4% or 3% or something they call the Angel Share. I don't know if it leaks out the bottle or it just evaporates. I don't quite know. Obviously, there's probably as airtight as you can get, but yeah, I think they lose about 3 or 4%, or it's a small amount. Might not even be that much, but let me take a photo of that. Look at that. I have been watching the Men in Kilts. It's the 2 guys that were in Outlander that go around some of the sort of well-known whisky distilleries in Scotland. So, film called Angel Share. Look at that. Excellent. Okay, leg. The legs do seem to be playing the game today, working quite nicely. Sometimes they're quite predictable, and this seems like we may get one of those days. Okay, that would take us up to about there. Let's see what's happening here. So that looks like a leg and a leg. So there's 1 leg, 2 legs, and obviously 1 leg, a little bit of sideways, 1 leg, 2 legs back, 1 leg, bit of sideways, 1 leg. So would I go short if I saw something here? I hate picking tops, in all fairness. Interesting, that's come down strong. I see young Jess has given up the given up the prop firms for a while. I think she's been throwing a lot of money at it like most of us. I think she's decided just to trade what she's got and leave it, which is what I'm doing at the moment. Just trading the 1p account. I'm just sick of when you lose one, you lose a bunch of them, and I've reduced my risk. So hopefully, I've done what everybody's been telling me to do for the last probably 2 years. Reduce your risk, and you'll start doing all right. Sorry, back now. Okay, pretty hard to trade this. It's hard to know exactly what's going on. Okay, are we getting a leg and a leg? Let's see if Max give us something now. We should. Hopefully. Yes. Okay, so Mac has got this as a single channel. So he's got that to there. It did look better as a single one in all fairness. He's got it there as a break. Perfect. I'm happy with that one. He's got that like that with a break. And in all fairness, at the moment, we're just going sideways. So, yeah, excellent. Okay, yeah, there's Mac's chart. It's got this small break there, new low, push up break, new high, sideways. So, excellent. So, let's have a look. So leg, sideways, leg. What are we going to do here? We have had a break of it, a new low. We touched the bottom, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of picking tops and bottoms, especially when we're working within sort of 6.25 points top and bottom. If you have a bar close out there and it opens up here, you're about 4.5 points to the top, and you want to be out well before the top. So I'm not a fan of picking these. In your opinion, shall I risk a fixed percentage of my $50,000, or shall I just keep stops at low and high at the entry bars? Well, what you got to do is decide what contract size you're trading, whether it be 1 or 2. My honest suggestion is I would stick to 1. I've traded 2 a lot of the time, but there's not much room for error. So if you stick with 1 contract, you're risking somewhere around about 5% of your account. So if you're trading PATs, your bar at the moment, if you look at the ATR, it's just under 2.25. So with a tick above, tick below, your average risk will be about 2.5, 2.75 points. So well, your average bar will be 2.75 points. That's with a tick above it. So that would be, obviously you got to weigh that up. That would be your loss. So that would be about $135 loss, which is about 5%, somewhere around there. So yeah. So when you obviously trade, it depends on how you trade. I definitely use 1 contract on the year. So for instance, that's a trade I left. I wish I'd have taken. So we had a break new high, 2 legs back to the EMA. Nice big bullish bar. So if you're going to take that bar, generally you would put your order 1 tick above it. What you'll see me do is I tend to hover over the close of it with a limit order. When it ticks above, I usually drop it. I like doing that sometimes, because if you use a market order, the market's working really quickly and all of a sudden it jumps as you drop it. It'll kick you out and you've got to open another one and blah, 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 So that's what I usually do. And not only that, it saves you a tick as well. And then, yeah, your stop goes 1 tick below the signal bar. If you trade in PATs anyway. But the trouble is, there's so many different ways of trading these. Some people stop, they may trade there. Their stop might be down here, but they may be going for profit up here. So it's just, there's so many ways of doing this. Different ways of doing it, different time frames. So it's, there's so many different traders entering so many different ways. But generally, the trades will be similar. Obviously, in this type of field at the moment, they'll be mostly shorts. But yeah, if you take a trade, then either a tick above or actually on the close, but wait for it to tick above, and then stop a tick below. On the odd occasion, I might give it an extra tick. Just on the odd occasion, sometimes it'll trigger you out by 1 tick and then end up going in the same damn direction that you expected it to. So market's got a way of making your life miserable like that. So, but okay, so what are we doing here? So we've had a leg up, leg down, leg down. Are we actually moving up now? I think we may be. Okay, so that's possible. So we got this leg down, we had a break new low, 1 leg, 2 legs. We had another attempt to go lower to break the lows, didn't work. So actually rejected pretty strongly. We had a good strong bar, about 4 and a bit points, and then straight up through the EMA. So it is possible we're working up now. So it needs to break above there and then come back and hit this area for me to think about going along. But at the moment we're ranging, but if we manage to pull up and break and keep above this, then I'd say we're starting to trend then. So it does look like a channel with a break in new low, leg, and then up. Yeah, for so long I traded 2 contracts. It's all good and well, it can get your account running a bit quicker, but you take 2 losses in a day, it could be $700. That might not be a terrible thing. It depends how you feel when you've lost that. And when a lot of people get them types of losses, they start doing silly things, me included. So by changing to 1 contract, I'm taking my worst ever day down to $350. Now that's much more manageable. It has less of a shock. And when you're used to sort of losing 250, 300 in a trade, and all of a sudden your losses go down to half that, that's easy to take. Doesn't have such an impact. So risk management is a lot. You know, most people talk about risk management, and most of the new guys just ignore it, me included. But it is important. You risk too much, the stress goes up. Bring your risk down, stress reduces, makes things a lot easier. Sure, you've answered this, but haven't watched for a while. When do you get current overnight current indicator? Excuse me. Where did I get that? That is called sorry, always pops up on another screen for some reason, don't know why. It's called Chart Enhancer, is that right? Yeah, Chart Enhancer it's called. Is it from Algotech? I think it's from Algotech. I don't think I've got a link to it. I think it's from Algotech, and it's called Chart Enhancer. Let me have a look. I'll look for you. Where are you? Not that one. No, I can't find it now. Yeah, it's called Algotech. It gives you a bunch of things. Current overnight lows here. And obviously, if I hover on a green bar, you can see the information up there. It tells me everything about the bar. If I move to the side on the red bar, it tells me the size of the bar. That was 2 points. The close, the high of it. It's Algotech. Is it Algotech or not? Maybe it isn't Algotech. Hold on, let me check my emails. I'll tell you. No, I thought I'd archived it. Yeah, pretty sure it's called Algotech. Just have to look them up. Gonna have to research it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I like that. It constantly shows me my highs of the day, the open and the lows of the day. Doesn't it give me any more information in there? It might do. I'll reduce my contract size, but after a loss, I have a tendency to double the contract. Yeah, Look into something called NLP, neuro, something programming. What's it called? I've gone blank now. Neuro, something programming. It's about helping you deal with stuff like that. No, just click Chart Enhancer. Linguistic, yeah, neuro-linguistic programming. Look into that, mate. But I know exactly where you're coming from, Sam. What it is, it's when you get that urge to do something you know you shouldn't. So you obviously you lose a trade. Your urge then is to go over to your contracts and up it to 2 and double up. That's never going to work. Telling you from someone that's thinking cool and calm collective, as opposed to telling you from someone who's just lost a trade. So what you basically do is, I believe you create a map, an image of something. So what do you feel like and what do you see when you get that urge to do it? And it's about replacing that with something else, if I'm understanding it correctly. But look into it. But yeah, I mean, in your own mind, you shouldn't be doing it. So it's that urge and that buzz to do it. where you got to, okay, so we're going to touchy. So there is a possibility that we may end up in a little bit of a range here. It's possible. Touch. So we're touching once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7, 8, 9. It's possible. But yeah, look into that, Sam. Neuro-linguistic programming. But yeah, I know the feeling. You want your money back, don't you? And that's the battle. That's the battle. I think what you got to try and do, mate, is push yourself away from it. Push it away from you when you get the urge. I've heard I posted a quick video clip of, in fact, I'll play it if you want. Quick video clip of, see how he describes this. Get the urge to gamble or to something like that. I shared it on Facebook. Let me have a look. You got your sounds on, obviously, yeah. I played this. It's only literally lasts about 30 seconds. But I posted this on the group. Where it is. There it is. Okay. Can I just, yeah.
Is there any more questions at this point?
Well, you guys can hear that, I can't.
On the trading floors,
have a quick
when
listen
you was
to this.
trading,
Ask him a question.
losing or gaining money, have you got like a gambling addiction feeling?
It's hard to say no to that question because you do get those feelings a lot when you're in a very fast-paced environment. The trick is learning how to suppress it and trading in a non-human way.
Yeah, it's only another minute.
So what you'll realize if you do a lot of psychology work, humans are very bad traders. Because the human psychology is the opposite of how you should actually trade. So all of these feelings that you get as a human, you have to suppress. And that's part of the learning process. And you become kind of hard-coded over many years, where you know when you get this feeling, you push it away. And then you carry on as you should. So yeah, I can't say no to that question because you do actually get these feelings, but you have to hide them. You have to push them. And then you can go outside the office and do that if you want, but you can't do it on the trading floor.
Okay, you hear that right, yeah? So everybody gets it, but it's how you deal with it and how you are. Well, it's first and foremost, it's identifying it. You've got this urge to do something you know you shouldn't do, and then putting something in place to deal with it. Yeah, it's very simple, but he's been a floor trader. He's traded currency. I think he's more of an investment thing now. But he started trading from his bedroom, and then was headhunted by I can't remember now. Some big investment bank. But yeah, but it happens to everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. But like you said, you sort of, you know what it is, you push it away, but it's how you deal with it. What I find sometimes is it happens before I've even recognised it's going on. So you almost go onto autopilot. And the trouble is, the more you do that, the more you'll continue to do it that way without thinking. But it's a knowing when it's happening and you're getting that urge, you almost see a picture. You know, anybody ever get this thing, maybe you're at work and you're finishing on a Friday, you think, oh yeah, I'm going to go home tonight, order a nice Chinese, sit in front of the TV and watch a nice film. You can imagine yourself sitting at the table with your Chinese in front of you and what it tastes like, and, you know, the film coming on and you feel good, relaxed, the week's done. It's that you almost play a video image of something you're going to do. Now, if you're trying to lose weight, that's not the image you want to be thinking of. So it's about replacing that image, I believe, this NLP. It's replacing that image with something else, something better, I think. But I like that. I just posted that on the Facebook group because I kind of liked it. It's nice to hear from sort of professionals that have had these issues and how do they deal with it. But like he said, it's hard to answer that. It's hard to say no to that because everybody's experienced it at some point. Now, we're in the middle of it at the moment. You know, in 10 years' time, it'll be a thing of the past. We'll probably forget what it's like even. But if somebody asks you, you'll probably come back to you and remind you. Okay, so quite a big bullish bar there. It does look like we're going up. The trouble is we're going into the highs there. In all fairness, I'd like my order back here. I'm not going to take that because I've been triggered before and it drops back to here. 2 legs and then off it goes. So we're testing this line again. So are we going to break through it? And are we going to indeed push up? But I think this was that 50% line, wasn't it? Let's have a wee look. No. That one. Yeah, we're coming up to this 50% line again, once, twice, 3 times. If we push above it, come back and maybe retest something, then maybe interested in going along. But at the moment, I'm just sitting tight. I'm not getting involved here. Okay, strong push above it. Okay, worked really well that. So I like the way it's gone right to the top there, so there, which means it's not losing any upward momentum. So I'd like to come back and maybe a couple of legs back and then possibly a higher low and then push higher. So have we got any other areas where it might be a bit tough to get through? Up here, nothing till around about the open. How did you not think of going long there? Second entry long. That one there, because it's congested and it's coming up to this resistance. So, for one, for me, the bottom of that stem needs to be equal, at least a bit lower. And bearing in mind, the bigger picture is telling me it's congested. So it may trigger you. Come back to this line. We've got, all over at the EMA, we've also got this area here, see? So it could trigger you and come back here. So 1, it's sideways and congested. 2, we've hit this area plenty of times previously and reversed. So if it triggered me, it could reverse and come back. It could continue to go sideways till it gets to here and push up. But yeah. I think Matt told me, don't look for a reason to take a trade, look for a reason not to. So why might this trade not work? You know what I mean? And obviously with the congestion and going into those highs, it's a no-no to take that really. And funnily enough, if you notice, that came down 1 tick below there. So it would have taken the stop out. I don't know whether you'd have got a point out of it. Yeah, you'd have squeezed a couple of points out of it. But yeah, you can see there's a lot of resistance along here. There's obviously a possibility we could be ranging in this area if it comes down and bounces here somewhere and then continues up and down. So possible hidden second entry long here. If that's the case, I'll probably wait for the higher low, but that's looking pretty bearish all of a sudden. That's what I mean. There is a possibility it could be just hitting the top of a range. $10,000 tick charts looking just as confusing in all fairness. So you could say that is a hidden second entry long. I'm not getting involved because the EMA is flat and it's slightly below it. So we'll leg up, maybe 2 attempts to go lower. Let's see if we can get a push up and maybe a higher low. I'd like to give it the opportunity to trap me, or at least not trade, but let's see if the trap would have caught on, but maybe there's no stopping it. So there is a possibility this could be just ranging. Okay, second entry long, possible failure. Just not a fan of it. We're not far off making those 2 legs, so not sure going shorter is a good sensible idea. It's a bit too far from the EMA. There is a lot of support around there, so probably not the best place to go short for me personally. No, it's just a bit choppy, a little bit choppy along here. Not enough room. Leg, take us down to about here. So it's too far from the EMA in all fairness. The 3 bars stack by stack. That line I put there, because there's clearly some support and resistance along there, so it's just, it could bounce and continue up. It does. After you had this break and new low, we do tend to have a slight bullish momentum, ever so slightly. We've had a couple of legs up, come down, and since around about, what is it, the last sort of 2:48, the last about hour and a quarter, hour, 20 minutes, we're slowly working up with a break, maybe a leg and a leg, and then maybe continue. I don't know, but I'm just not sure what to do here at the moment. It's just not very clear to me. Are we going up? Are we going down? No idea. Oh, excuse me. I think if we can push up and then maybe make a higher low, I think then there is a possibility we could go higher to make the tops of this. I mean, we do seem to be slowly working up. That's just sort of maybe educated speculation. Yeah, it's just clearly going sideways now, just unsure. What the hell's going on? Okay, I'm just going to be 2 minutes, so I'm just going to have a quick bathroom break and I'll be back. Okay, not miss nothing. In fact, leg down, leg up, leg up. Maybe there is two bigger legs there. Leg and a leg. So, we've had this down stuff. We've made 2 attempts to go. So I think it is likely we're going to push lower. Do you take any other instruments as a correlation indicator? No. All I use for this with Pat's price action trading is just the 21-day exponential moving average. That is it. That's the only type of indicator I use at all. Nothing else. It's pure price action, just on what the bars are telling me. Obviously, I use sort of drawing tools like trend channels, range channels, measured moves and stuff like that. But no, any type of indicator I use is this blue dashed one, which is the exponential moving average. So, yeah, see, there is this big channel down and 2 measured legs. So, got this leg down. We made 2 attempts to go higher or down. So, see what happens here. If it does continue to go down from here, then I think we'll come in lower. But we have... see, there's clearly something working in there, isn't it? You can see the way it's come up and tested it and tested it and tested it. We've pushed through it now, see? So, it's clearly playing a role, isn't it? But whether it's going to hold price or not. Because if it does reject prices and we start to move down, I can see it's coming down down here. So that's interesting. I was hoping that might be a little bit more bearish. I may be interested in that then if it was a bit more bearish. But it does look like we've pushed down. We've had a pull back. We've pushed down. We've tried multiple times to break higher than this. We've broken out of it, but closed quickly below it. So whether we'll try again. So if you look at this, so you may say there's our first attempt to go higher. There's our second. Maybe we'll try again. Or you could even call that maybe your triple test. I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence here anyway, so it's a bit choppy and a bit dangerous, so it's not that clear. So I'm on the fence that we've had 2 legs up after that big leg down, so I think it's more likely we're going to continue down. But at the moment, just look left and you'll see all that. You just can't do anything with that at the moment because it could really go either way. Couldn't this be a higher low in a channel? When you say a channel, higher low, you mean a lower high? And about that lower high. Do you know, apart from that channel there's nothing else I can see. There's no channel there in my opinion. It's just, it doesn't make sense. It's just, I think it's pushed down and sideways. So when it's like this, it's just going sideways. You can't trade that because if you do, and you really don't know what you're doing. But you think about this, what's happening now? Who's buying and selling there? Not many. It's a little bit of buying, a little bit of selling, a little bit of buying, a little bit of selling. So you think about the guys that spend the big amounts of money, that trade the big amounts of money. What are they doing? Surely they must be trading this because they're experienced, aren't they? Well, they're not. That's why it's just going sideways, because they're uncertain. You know, once we start to get a breakout, that's when people will start to trade. But when it's going like this, it's unpredictable. Because at the moment with this, is that telling us we're going up or down? I've got my theories. My theory is we've got this big leg down. We've made 2 attempts to go higher. My theory is I think it's probably more likely to go down. But, you know, I might be talking about 60, 65, 35 or something like that. But it's not enough to make me want to go short just yet, unless I see a really nice signal bar that I think other people are going to maybe take. But it's congested, it's going sideways, which means uncertain, down, up, down, up, down, up. I'm guessing this is going to come down, so if that pushes up and you go long, it'll trigger you, come down and stop you out. If you think that's coming down and you go short, it'll trigger you, come out and stop you out. So it's just follow traps. That's literally what it does. It goes down, up, down, up. What we want to do is find out one of these types of breakout when it starts to move. Wait for a push up, a little bit of a pullback, then a bullish bar to tell us we're going to go higher. That's ideally where we want to be trading. But when it's doing this sideways stuff, you just got to stay out of it. Otherwise, you're just going to get you're just going to start losing trades. I've done it many times. You know, I've gone, well, there's a second entry short there. Why doesn't it work? Well, it's because it's congested. So when it does this, just stay out of it. See, the dangerous thing as well, if we have to have a channel, and when we have that, is being convinced we're going long to make a new high. I've done that before, and I've got in a trade there, I've got in a trade there, and all of a sudden, it's almost like it sucks you in. And then all of a sudden, it'll just drop, take out, stops there, stops there, stops there. So anybody who's gone long there thinking we're pushing up, I've given up doing that now. I get very cautious, especially when it's doing a lot of this sideways stuff, because so many times it'll trap you and then turn down on you. I'm not saying it's not going to, but for me, I've just been stuck in these areas before and I've gone long and it's chopped me out. Sometimes you're that focused on going long to break these highs to make a new extreme that you're just looking for bars. Okay, there you go, there's a failure. So let's take that. So you're in that trade now. You might think, okay, double bottom, let's buy here. Or nice big bullish bar off the bottom, let's buy there. At the moment, you're trapped in a trade there. You may be trapped in a trade there. You're trapped in a trade there. So if all of a sudden that comes down now and breaks below there, everyone who went long there thinking we're going to push up. So I'm just cautious now. Because I've been in these areas before. So whenever I see this, it brings back painful memories. You almost build up like a library of pictures of setups to stay out of. And like Max says, it's screen time. The more you see this sort of stuff, the more you get trapped in it, the more you just give up. So you might be that focused on going long and what you're missing. How many times has it tried to go long and it's failed? Now, it may just rocket up. But that's what happens when it goes sideways. It could go up, it could go down. If I was to pick something, I would say it's more likely to go down. Purely because the pattern I can see, we've got a leg down, we've made 2 attempts to go higher, and then we've pushed down strongly below the EMA. Yeah, we've got some sideways stuff, but for me, this is coming down. So if you've taken that one as a failure, your stop's there, it's about to get smashed. If after this you've got 1 leg, 2 leg, that big bullish bar, and you've taken that trade, or you've put your order there, you might have taken it there, but You're in there as well. So there's probably going to be a couple of stops here. So for me, it's just too risky. That is going long there. Okay, if you have any stops in along there, that's been taken out. They'll be next, I think. Might already have been hit. No, not yet. It will do though. I work as a software engineer. Good, I've got a project for you in a minute. And trade at the same time. Might die. Okay, software engineer, so we want something from you. This is your way of contributing to the group. Let's just see if that gets broken. It will do. Yeah, so if you went long there thinking we're going to have a push there, one leg, two legs down, looking for longs going up, it's been taken out. We're after a piece of software that we can, or an indicator or something that we can attach to NinjaTrader. So I can go into this indicator and I've put, do not let me come back into NinjaTrader for 12 hours. Something like that. Is that possible to have something that you could stop using this account? So at the end of my trading day, when I'm up, it just stops me being greedy later. I can open my thing and put no trades until 12 hours from now or 10 hours from now, and then click execute, and it doesn't let any trades go through. There must be something like that. That'd be worth its weight in gold, that would. If you can come up with something like that, I'll pay you $100 and $200 for it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of others will. Okay, so I think we're coming down here. So we've had this leg down there, two legs up. For me, we're coming down. It would be nice, wouldn't it? I'd ask Darryl Martin to see if he could design something, but I think he'd laugh in my face. That's where they make most. That's where they most of their money. Excuse me a second. So, yeah, absolutely. Because you can go into Rhythmic and set a daily loss limit, but you want something that there must be something you can do. But I mean, wouldn't it be nice to have something like that, and something that maybe sets a password on it, and the password doesn't come visible for 12 hours or 6 hours, just something to take you after the close, and once you're after midnight, let's say for argument's sake, there must be something. Must be something worth its weight in gold. That I don't think Apex would be happy about it, because they'd be losing a fortune. I heard he talked about some kind of stuff. Did he now? Okay, he'll be streaming later. He's probably streaming now, isn't he? I'll have a look. Ninja has it programming language is based on C++. Something. I think so. Yeah, there might be. Well, that would be useful, wouldn't it? Because in the cold light of day, at the end of a trading day, I can go, okay, I'm done for the day. Select. I can't trade now till after midnight my time. So if I get that urge later to come in and trade more, or fear of missing out or whatever, I can't do it. because in all honesty, come the following day, I've got no urge to trade. It's just later that night. And maybe something, if you take 2 losses and the second loss has taken you over $500, it doesn't allow you to take another trade. I don't like a loss limit, because if you're in a second trade and it goes up and it hits your limit and stops you out, but you haven't hit your stop yet and the trade goes on to win. So for me, a loss limit's not a good idea. You can use Windows. You might just be my new best friend. You can use Windows 11. I looked at parental controls because I spoke to my wife and I went, I might. Yeah, I looked at it. Where is it? Where was it? Delete. It's in accounts, isn't it? Family and other users. Yeah, I had a quick look at it because I considered something like that. That might have to be the case, actually. But the trouble is, when you get that urge, it's almost like an addictive urge, isn't it? That's why I'm trying to learn this NLP to help reprogram that side of it, and that's the problem. When I finish trading, I got no urge to trade. I'm happy to finish and go down and have my dinner with my family. It's that later I get a bit bored and you start thinking, oh, you know, I want to... I'll have to look into that, John. I'll have to look into that. I feel bad. I'm treating myself like a kid. Locking myself out. I mean, we could simply just... I could get my wife to just sort of pull the internet, pull the router out in the internet. So only use child's account, only give your wife the main admin account password. It might be an option, mate. At the end of the day, if it works and gets you out that habit, I suppose it's almost like locking your bottle of whiskey away, isn't it? My only slight concern is I end up torturing my wife for the password. Or for the fun of it, or whatever. But it's getting out of that habit. The trouble is, it does become a habit. You get that urge, and it is habit. It's part addiction, part habit. And somebody described traders as gamblers with control or something like that. And the trouble is, we do gamble, don't we? That's exactly what we do. We bet on an occurrence. We bet on the market going up or the market going down. There's no difference between betting on Liverpool to win or Man United to win. It makes no difference. The only thing we trade in is we have more of an edge. There's a lot of skill involved. But you still quite likely get the same excitement that people get from gambling. Think of it as a tool to get... Absolutely. It is, basically, isn't it? Once you... if you're giving up sugar, you take it out your tea, you're going to be a cranky, miserable bugger for a week or two, aren't you? But when you've not had it for long enough, that urge and that desire, that's not a bad idea, actually, mate. I'm going to look into that over the weekend, and I might give my wife the admin side of it and then put me on as a child and restrict my times to maybe 6 o'clock in the evening. So, excuse me a second. Okay, folks, I'm just going to knock it on the head now. It's just that call I had, my wife's just shouting me. The chemist, they've got a spare COVID jab. And I haven't had one for over a year, so I'm going to knock it on the head now. Actually, I've done 2.5 hours anyway, so one trade up. So a good start to this PA. So I appreciate that, John. I'm going to look into that over the weekend for sure. I think it's a good, sensible idea to block me out from 6 o'clock. So that's it for today, folks. Off to get my COVID jab. One nice trade, one nice setup. There we go. Bit of sideways. So I appreciate all your comments. And I will be back same time tomorrow. So take it easy, stay safe, and I will talk to you all same time tomorrow. Bye for now.